Hello Baphomates, it's me Jobe Fortuna and welcome to my first video of 2022. So I've been planning to do a video like this for quite a few months now, and so as it's come up the first time doing this sort of thing, I thought I'd take it easy and pick something a little easier. So I decided to do a video from this nice gentleman known as Baptist Joshua. I think I've pronounced that correctly, and he's going to give us 5 questions for atheists and evolutionists. Let's see how this goes.
A while back I was in a discussion with an atheist online.
And I'm sure the both of you took it really seriously and put each other's opinions into account and didn't try and troll each other whatsoever.
I asked him some questions. The first one I asked him was, "Are you an animal?" And he said that he was, and so was I, and did I have a problem with that?
Yes, humans are animals. They're all a part of nature. You know, human beings are part of the great apes, who are also like part of the vertebrates, mammals. You know, there's a whole bunch of stuff that classifies us as animals, so yeah.
But going with your idea that you're an animal, I have a question for some of you atheists and evolutionists, especially the atheists maybe.
And this is a fun thing about the title, considering about 20% of the population of Earth is atheist or at least non-religious, and when you consider most evolutionists, you know, tend to be like most of the population of Earth, because evolution doesn't disprove a god. In fact, the only people who say that are those who don't believe or understand what evolution is. So basically what you're saying is, here's a question for 20% of the Earth, and here's a question that also applies to all these other people that exist on the Earth as well. So basically what this question is for 95% of the population of Earth, if you're counting evolutionists with atheists, because a lot of people who understand and follow the science of evolution are also theists.
If you're an animal, here's the questions I have. Is killing animals wrong?
Entirely depends on the circumstance, really. I'd consider, if I was to accidentally step on an ant, I'd feel a bit bad, but I wouldn't exactly be racked with guilt. I eat meat. I've never actually had to kill an animal for food, but if I had to survive, that's fine. But then at the same time, if I was to kick someone's pet, I'd consider that bad. So it's kind of like a sliding scale. I mean, I'm sure you're going to highlight the fact that it's a sliding scale. You know, it's not just it either is or is not. You're not going to stick to a binary, obviously.
And we kill animals all the time to eat. Well, if we're an animal too...
Yes, I'm not quite sure I like where this is going, but go on.
Brings up some slippery slopes, doesn't it? Just a slippery slope.
Not really. It really doesn't.
Cats are believed to kill other animals, sometimes purely for fun.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm a dog person myself, but yeah, that is, as far as I'm aware, what's the deal with cats.
Do you advocate here and now the total extinction of cats?
No, but then that would be a very weird statement to make. Then I live in the UK, where we have fox hunting, so I wouldn't advocate for the extinction of all cats, but I'd imagine some groups in my country would advocate for the total annihilation of foxes. I mean, I fail to see where you're going with this.
If not, what about Nazis?
Not a minute in and he mentions Nazis. I mean, I'm all for there not being any Nazis in the world, but I don't necessarily see that as killing a whole bunch of people. Once again, slight difference in the, I was going to say execution, but slight difference in the approach to that, really. I don't want there to be Nazis in the world, but I don't feel that death should be the solution for that. So I know, liberal snowflake,
They killed many, and not for fun, but for what they claimed was a good reason.
Yes, I think we can all agree the Nazis were bad. Very, very bad. Agreed. What's your point?
So then are you saying that they were justified?
No, but then if we're going back to your cat analogy, I don't think cats were justified either. So I once again not quite sure where this is going, because you're making these comparisons that don't really track along the same lines. It's kind of like apples and oranges, a cat kills a mouse, and Nazis, they're not quite on the same level, you see.
Question number 2. There are different species of canine. Wolves are much more strong in every area than, say, Chihuahuas.
Now, I know this is a bit of a nitpick, but how did I know he was going to go with Chihuahuas? I mean, I feel so bad for Chihuahuas. I'm not a fan of Chihuahuas, but I feel bad for Chihuahuas.
So according to you, which ethnicity of human is the strongest overall?
So we've gone from Nazis to eugenics. No, I can see the connection there, definitely. Okay, so the problem you seem to kind of not get is that we are all of human race, as in we are all humans, whilst not all canines are dogs. They are separate species, they're a separate species. A wolf isn't a different breed of dog, they're a separate species. We are not a separate species. An African and an Asian person are not a separate species, so no, that's not how that works. You're thinking of eugenics. Eugenics is a bad thing. Once again, Nazis.
You may divert by claiming each has their strengths and weaknesses, and certain ethnicities are more specialized in certain locations.
Yes, and part of that is kind of about evolution, people who live in a particular area kind of adapt to that kind of environment, but they're still all humans. They are not separate species or breeds, if we're using the dog comparison again. They're all humans. They're all human beings.
So tell me, within the United States, which ethnicity is more suitable, or the favored race, as Charles Darwin put it?
I'm sorry, but as an English person, you asking America who's the favoured race? I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, but that really tickles me. I'm fully aware that not every American is a racist, but just the idea of saying, hey Americans, who's the favoured race? Probably not, there's so much to unpack with that, I'm sorry. Hi, Editor Jobe here. Just a fun side note, I'm actually recording this on the anniversary of the insurrection of the Capitol building last year in America. So the idea of, hey America, who's the superior race if you believe you have one, it's the coincidence isn't lost on me. It really isn't. That wasn't intentional, but it just kind of happens. So yeah, I couldn't help but find the entire question hilarious. As I said, I'm fully aware that obviously not everyone in America is racist. It's just the people that because this sort of video isn't targeted to atheists. This sort of video is targeted to other creationists and other Baptists, etc. This isn't for us. This is for them. And the idea of him speaking to other people of his ilk, saying, who do you think are the superior race? It's just so weird, because he's preaching to the choir. I'm just saying. Anyway, I'll let you get on with the video. Oh, also, fun side note about Darwin. He believed that all human beings were the same as well, that they're not separate, and that we should all consider ourselves the human race, not like separate ourselves with our ethnicities. He was actually kind of, against that sort of thing, and kind of like the idea that we're all human beings, so we all live together, that whole thing. Yeah, Charles Darwin wasn't the evil atheist a lot of you guys like to pretend he was.
This is all according to your idea.
Mate, You have no idea about my idea or the idea of evolutionary theory. You have no idea. That's why you're making this video, because you actually don't know. But to be fair, I also feel that you don't actually care.
Question number 3. Current belief regarding the universe is that it is spreading out.
Okay, you're using the word believe when that's not a belief, it's a fact because it's being observed to be happening. So it's not a belief, it's a thing we watch. It's like believing that flowers bloom. It's a thing we observe.
The Bible repeatedly states that it is stretching out or has been stretched out. If the Bible was not given by inspiration of God, how did ancient man know this?
Oh, that's an easy one. Yeah, they didn't. Because the Bible is poetry. Not solely poetry, but some of it's poetic. And just think about it. You're living 5,000 years ago, and you look up in the sky, and you see these little dots of light, and you see these little dots moving across the sky. And it's like it was made for you, right? You're looking up, and you see all this stuff moving in the vast expanse, and you've gone, wow, isn't it nice that this has just been spread across the sky? It doesn't take that big a leap to look up at the sky and think it's spread out. I mean, it's technically spread out because it's not in one area, it's all over the sky. So when they say something like it's stretched out, it's because it fills the sky. It's not just like in a section, it fills the sky. So of course they'll say the heavens are stretched out, because that's how it looks. It's not that they knew of the stars being distant. They thought it was like the firmament. They thought it was like little dots on a dome.
Question 4. How did the Bible get it right that there are springs of the sea, when this was not discovered until 1965 with the advent of deep sea vehicles?
Okay, that's kind of an easy one. So, you know when ancient people used to like dig holes and find like water underground, and then they'd be like, oh, I've dug and now water is springing from this hole, and now we have a well. Oh look, there's a lake there. May have been the same thing. Someone dug, water came out from the hole and filled that lake. Oh look, there's an ocean over there. Maybe there's water underneath that, and that's where the ocean came from. So once again, the same principle. If you dig a well and then you find water in the ground and then it fills up to make a well, once again, it doesn't take that much of a leap of logic to think, well, there's a massive sea over there. Maybe that was dry and then water came from the ground. Groundwater was not a new discovery like the 60s, mate. Once again, think before you ask these questions, please.
Question number 5.
I'm ready.
Animals often force other animals into sex. We do not kill or punish these acts.
I mean, if you want to jump in between two wild animals trying to get busy, that's up to you. I'm staying clear of that.
Please explain why, if Darwinian evolution is true, why one person raping another is wrong.
Oh, okay. That's actually quite easy to answer. So basically, as we evolved and became kind of like travelling communities before we became like farmers and stuff, the only way for an individual to survive was to stay as part of the group and follow those groups' rules, basically, and customs. So what wound up happening was, if someone wound up breaking those rules or customs, they would be thrown out of the group. And that being thrown out basically meant you would die. So if someone did something that broke the unity of that tribe and group, and it was against their kind of rules, those people would be kicked out and die. And those traits that that person would carry would not move on and would not be passed down to another generation. So as the generations kept going on, those less savoury traits were kind of weaned out of the gene pool because of survival. So if someone did something that risked the survival of the collective group, or at least a couple of the individuals of that group, they would be thrown out. And so that's why stuff like rape and murder is kind of an abhorrent thing to us, is because we kind of evolved that understanding because of the whole empathy thing. Because the people that evolutionary history would basically say that those who did those things and thought it was fine were removed out of the gene pool because it risked the survival of the tribe. So yeah, evolution perfectly explains as to why we consider those sort of things abhorrent. It's not that tricky when you look into it, really.
Your myth of evolution has caused a lot of problems.
I mean, it's not a myth, it's heavily supported by like 8 different studies and fields, and there's more evidence for evolution than there is of gravity, so that's that. And as I said, it's not really causing any problems unless you have issues trying to figure out how to have both science and religion both be true. And if something in your religion says something that science does not say, then that's a you problem.
And has been the excuse of many criminals.
I mean, that's kind of funny when you consider the majority of people in the US prison system are Christian. I mean, sure, if you want to do that. So the rest of this video is him just listing a whole bunch of people who are famous and may have been atheists but may not have been, to kind of cement his point. So, thanks for watching. Today's comment comes from Ryan Rogers, who says, "The Bible is our Creator's book." And that's true. The Bible is supposed to be the book of Yahweh, Jehovah, whatever you like to call him. But then you've got to bear in mind that there are other religions that exist, such as Hinduism, for example. So I wouldn't necessarily, if you were to ask a Hindu, I don't think they'd agree with you on that. Thanks again for watching. I hope you did enjoy it. It's the first time I've done a video like this. If you did enjoy it, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and let me know your thoughts down in the comments if I should do this sort of video again. And I'll catch you all on the flip side. And remember to live deliciously.